I feel like you can get premium from someone that's small.
It's a decision
upgrade,
of like what you want that customer experience to be, not I want that extra 50 cents in my pocket.
So we're all looking for that product or that brand that's ours, that's mine.
David is a rabid fan of Taft and like has sent out, I mean, who knows how many hundreds of boots have been bought because you tell people about it.
I loved it, saw it, told Josh, wore them, talked about them.
It makes making content for that brand better when you believe in it. So today we talked about brands we love and why. We learned about David and how he almost punched someone in the face and how he got over that. And then we really discussed how there's a market for anybody. So if your brand's right and everything's together and like it should be, there's always going to be someone there to purchase it. But yeah, stay tuned. So yeah, talking about brands we like, small brands, big brands, why you like them.
Yeah, what draws you to that brand? What makes you say, you know what, I'm going to pick that off the shelf rather than, the same exact, polo, looks the same as Polo Ralph Lauren, as off the
even all the way to like
market
drinks.
Yep.
Like you go down to the drinks and you go into like a gas station whenever you see that. Like which one makes you?
It's a story with that as far as there's so many waters, right? And so water is one where you like it all tastes the same for the most part, but and there's different pHs and all this. But the one that I like that I always get drawn to, and the only reason is because of the branding, and that's like the Life Water. That does different kind of artists, things, and there'll be like 2 or 3 different artists, kind of rappers on that bottle, and they switch it up, and it's like some kind of cool art. That's why I picked that one, and so there's all these options, but I go with that one because I like the art. I like that it's creative and it looks cool, and that's why I pick it. So it could be as little as that.
Yeah,
I definitely resonate with stories. I have friends, obviously lots of entrepreneurial friends. And so when you hear their story and you relate to that, I tend to be drawn to like the story of a brand. And then once I know the story and they repeat it, I want to like support it. And so
100% agree with you on that. And one example of that is listening to another podcast, the Operators podcast, and those guys on there with their different brands, and Sean Frank with Ridge, the CEO of Ridge Wallet. And, I'd heard of Ridge, had never really, put much thought into getting one, and then started listening to his podcast and just really liked, him and liked what he had to say. And so I was like, let me check this brand out, and then heard their story, and so they had a lot of, comparables to our story, and, father, son, started business and their best friend, and then brought in a marketing company. And that's where, Sean and his group came from, and they kind of took them to the moon and then partnered up and, continued to, now they're doing hundreds of $1 million a year, and absolutely incredible. So after hearing that story and knowing who's behind it and knowing the story, and then being like, I want to support these guys. And so I went out and bought one, and I love the product. So
I think I own a couple of Ridge wallets. I graduated up to this other one you see me wearing now. I don't even know how to say it. Like I think it's called Secret or Secrid. But
and see, they should have done it, and that's a downfall of that brand, is that they chose a name that was hard to pronounce.
I think it's foreign though, because when you order, I think it comes from like Germany or something. But it's like this little 3-fold wallet. Yep. Like I bought one.
He still got the trifold. Does it have Velcro on it too?
No, this thing's awesome. It's the perfect It's like the perfect for me. It was the perfect blend from the Ridge wallet. Like, man, I still need somewhere to put these extra cards that don't fit in the top slot.
Yeah, you wear parachute pants and cargo shorts.
You have to. If you wear the cargo shorts, the wallet is really not a problem. You have
the cargo shorts that go down across your calves.
You have plenty of space. You have plenty of space.
We got to bring up your shirt.
You can even bring in a bottle of water, man. Yeah. You're good to go.
Yeah, your shirt. What did it say?
I wear calf shorts. Yeah, baby.
But not today.
Not today. Not necessarily. But this is almost calf shorts. These are like knee shorts. You know what I like about, I guess, the world we're living now with brands and products and stuff, is that I feel like you can get premium from someone that's small.
Yeah.
Like with the way the world is tight and small now, is like, we back in the day when we grew up anyways, you go big box store and we bought name brands, right? Like if you weren't wearing a pair of Nikes or Adidas or whatever, you weren't cool, right? Yeah. Or not that you weren't cool, but there are only a select few brands that were qualified as cool. And now we live in this world where just innovation and just quality and craftsmanship and marketing and like love of a product trumps all of that, right? And one of my experiences for that was like, it actually came from David. You know, believe it or not, David influences a lot of people. But you know, he had those boots that time. He's like, dude, Taft, I love them. You got to check them out, Taft. Check them out, right?
Love Taft.
And I'm really not a dressy guy, believe it or not. I'm a calf short guy. And I checked them out, and I was like, I kind of went nuts on them because I love quality things. Like I go crazy on quality things, on things that, and I think we live in a society where we all want to be individuals and we all want to be a little bit different. So we're all looking for that product or that brand that's ours, that's mine.
Yeah,
right.
I actually think that's
kind of neat.
Good point too. Like I own a pair because David told me about it too.
Yeah.
So like the truth of the
Taft,
matter is,
you really need to reach out. Corey, the
fact.
founder of Taft, huge fan of what they do.
Yeah, me too.
And their
Like-
story, and him and his wife, and they just have an incredible story. So if you have a chance, check them out. Taft, they make some great shoes. Started with socks and really took off on Reddit with the no-show socks, and then that morphed into shoes. And Corey is just such a creative founder, and he designs all the shoes himself, and has really just they do something really unique
Dude.
with their shoes and boots.
But my whole point around that too is like, think about how efficient that type of advertising is.
How
One
that
in the-
spread, just word of
one of
mouth.
my
that
orders
I
was-
loved it, saw
yeah.
it, told Josh, wore them, talked about them.
How
told
many
you.
other people have you told? Like we're just
there's
three
a
sitting
lot.
in the room, right?
David's like, give me my affiliate link.
Yeah,
Because
I can't even imagine how many boots. Same for
I
me.
know.
I don't know how many Anson belts because like every time I talk about it, it's
Right.
like it's the only belt I would ever wear. I have a really expensive belt that I bought before I knew David, and I literally don't even know where it is anymore.
And the problem with this belt, it's not a problem, is that you always see someone with that issue. And like I've chimed up so many times, like, what type of belt is it?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Anson belt? No. I'm like,
it's the greatest.
how's it
thing.
you haven't? Like, it's the greatest thing. And I'll go quickly, like, what?
Oh yeah, you start whipping out your
You're
belt.
like, what? You're like, here we go. Hey, you're like, yeah. It's like, here you go. They're looking at my weenus. You know, like, no worries there, man. But like this,
I had Richard Petty tug on my belt one time. I was I was on a good friend of mine's boat, and they were filming a show up there that morning, and Richard Petty was there doing the show, and I was showing them my belt, and he walks by and he yanks on it a little bit. And I said, "Whoa, Richard, whoa!" And I said, when the king's tugging on your belt, I said, "I can get you one." Of course, he had the big belt buckle, and I told him I'd hook him up.
That's hilarious.
That was story for ages.
Taft is definitely one of those ones I always go back to. Like and you make those big orders, and it's not a cheap shoe.
No,
they're
it's not.
expensive. They're expensive, but I'm a guy that likes bright shoes and crazy stuff. So I always look for the craziest Nikes. I can get Jordan 1s. Before that, I was all into Chuck Taylors. I loved those like crazy. I owned probably 100 pair of those. And then, on the dress shoe side, the other better half of me, Nancy, was like, we need to get you some suits and stuff. We started doing some events and things.
Yeah.
And so for me, it becomes kind of who I am, right? I want my shoes to kind of be expressive of like just my
Express your style.
Yeah. And dude, they've got some loud ones there.
They do.
And so I look for the loudest ones I can go with, and then pray they have my size in stock, because their inventory is a tough thing. Yeah. But dude, I think I ordered like 7 pairs one day too. They showed up,
and that's the kind
of
community that they have and that they've built. And that's one of the things that I admire about their brand is the community that they've built. And so they have a huge Facebook community, and then was one of the really early adopters of having the channel. What is it? So it's not a Telegram, but a
Discord.
Yeah, Discord.
Yeah,
So they had
Discord.
a Discord channel. Which I mean, can really build a community if you really nurture it and work it.
Yep.
You got to work it, but
again, that goes back to having a relationship. We
exactly,
talked about that
and
a
the
couple
relationship
other
with their
episodes.
customers, and so their customers have they don't buy one, they buy 6. And they're not cheap, but once they do, they're like, those are the only style of shoes I'm going to get. So.
Whenever we work with any brand or whatever, I always go kind of crazy on it, because I do it for 2 reasons. One, like, it makes making content for that brand better when you believe in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're like, oh man, this is great. And when it's great and it's going somewhere, you're like, I'm not sacrificing anything on this, right?
Yeah.
So the same thing for me. Like, I am the calf short guy, right? Well, Matt joined us not too long ago to do some like photo shoot for the swimwear. And as soon as we were done, like everybody was talking about how good the patterns were and the quality of it. And you got to feel it. And you're like, Jesus, these things are nice, man. Like even the shirts, like I don't really wear polo shirts all that much.
Are amazing.
Dude, you touch the shirts.
Oh,
like,
they're it's
dang,
like a
man, these shirts
Pima
are,
it's Pima Peruvian cotton.
Peruvian cotton.
And then it has a 4% stretch in there. So
man.
it's like
Just enough.
It literally feels like you're not wearing a shirt.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
You know, he left a box of that swimwear in the place, and like I can't tell you how tempting it was, like just to take
Try
them
them all
home.
on.
I was like, I'm just gonna take these home. I was like, no, man. So I've ordered them. I mean, I've ordered them. I think it's important to support people that are supporting you and all the other things. So I ordered them, and you wear them, and I'm like, you know, my brother saw me with the ones I wore. He's like, dude, what are those? Because the pattern's so awesome. I was like,
So
it's like Michael swimwear, man. And then like he goes out to Utah and like says to me, hey, got a link for those? You got a link for those swimwear? Now where he bought it, and I have no idea.
Yeah, but the difference is, again, attention to quality.
100%.
Like what David talked about earlier, the difference in those shorts, most prints are screen print, which gives you a limit of 6. Ours are digitally printed, so you have 56 colors. So
wow,
it gives
the colors are amazing.
Yeah, and even inside of the images, you'll look like there's a pair of sunglasses one, and inside the sunglasses, there's reflections of images.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So it's just like that attention to detail has done it. And then the other thing, like we were talking about earlier, he's called every single customer that's ordered online and introduced himself and created a relationship. And the moment you do that, like that person becomes a rabid fan.
Oh yeah.
Just like David is a rabid fan of Taft and like has sent out, I mean, who knows how many hundreds of boots have been bought because you tell people about it.
Yeah.
Like same.
And for me, I think it resonated with me too because of the patterns were loud patterns, but he's also got some muted patterns, some quieter patterns.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I felt
absolutely.
like, but I was like, dude, I could totally, if I'm going to go short on my shorts, and they're not shorts, they're fitted shorts. I mean, they're
inch and a
properly
half above the knee.
Yeah, I mean, they're properly sized shorts.
Yeah,
they're
you're
not
just
calf
used
shorts.
to being middle of your calf.
Like, dude, I bought these. This is true story. I bought these shorts the first time I wore them. I go out and like the next day, the back of my legs were so fried.
They've never seen the light of day.
They've never seen the light of day. But like even now, look, dude, look at like the top of my legs, man. Like the top of my legs are like now evenly tanned from wearing those shorts. But no, man, like for me, I always look for that brand that's a little bit brighter. It's just a little bit louder. I like louder things. And then the quality has to be there. And if quality's there, I'll spend the money on it. I'm the same way about restaurants. Like I don't mind spending crazy money in a restaurant. The food's good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If I paid a lot of money,
the best meal of my life.
Yeah,
like,
the food's terrible.
Would
I'm
you
not
pay
coming back.
premium dollar for the best meal of your life? Absolutely,
absolutely.
Yeah,
and I think that resonates in everything that you do. If you're doing the best you can, the best product, whatever it is, like really price becomes almost secondary. Unless you're someone obviously in a different financial standpoint, I get that, like counting and stuff.
Absolutely.
But if you're looking for something that you want, like you're on the hound and like, dude, I want to buy something. It's not the dollar that's going to keep you from doing it. It's the, hey, I went to the site and hey, it looks like poop.
What if,
I don't feel comfortable doing
here's
that.
a situation. What if you spend that premium dollar where, you think that this is going to be a premium product and then you get it and you're like, it doesn't meet your expectations.
Bad news spreads
fast,
6 times faster than good news.
And I think you have different types of people too. You have some people that'll return it, but I'm a guy that won't return it because I just don't have the time
never
to
buy
return
from
it.
them again.
You got it. And I'll just be like, nah, this is crap.
Yeah.
If you see it, you would bell mouth it.
Yeah. No. What'd you say? If
I saw it, I would.
You'd be like, well,
I wouldn't recommend it. How about that?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The thing is, though, I don't think that for you to have a premium brand, you need to spend premium money. A lot of it is in marketing. That's what establishes the story of the brand. Obviously, you want it to be a good product, but typically the cost of goods for a premium brand is not that much more.
Exactly. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's,
Like for us to put in a 3 or 4 times better liner is like $3.
Yeah.
$4. So it's not like, it's like cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
It's
like and that's what I don't understand when brands don't spend that extra 50 cents to get the different.
It's a decision
upgrade,
of like what you want that customer experience to be. Not I want that extra 50 cents in my pocket.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
And the moment you decide that you want that extra 50 cents or that extra $2 instead of playing the long game, you will for sure end up on the short end of the stick.
Here's an example of that with our belts in the very, very, very beginning, first year, we really wasn't familiar with the different qualities of leather and that kind of thing. And so had a much lesser quality, leather and product in the very, very beginning. And so made the decision that, you know what, for the longevity and if I want, we're going to put a lifetime guarantee on this
It's
thing.
got to be able to last.
Yeah. So we've got to use quality. So we literally doubled the cost of our product, and we didn't change the price. We kept the price the same, and it just basically, doubled the cost. But it was worth it in the long run, and it was the best decision that we made because we have a lot of people that come from our competitors that, they didn't change the leather, or that they went with that cheaper strap, and and they have problems, and so then they're like, I love the concept, but I want a higher quality.
What are some other brands that you guys like and love, and why?
I wear hats, so I like Melon hats. For some reason, I live in a hot climate, so when you're sweaty, like it tends to ruin hats, and theirs are like literally indestructible. You can just throw them in the washing machine and rinse them out. Or a lot of them, if they get wet, they're
done.
Yeah, they get soft and out of shape or whatever. So the Melon hats are actually really nice.
I feel like David's about to mention one that's going to cost us both money.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
No. I like finding cool brands like Taft, but also like the legacy brand, Polo and Ralph Lauren. Like when you talk about brand, that's the one that comes to mind is that Polo horse. And as a kid and as growing up, like the Polo, it was that horse, and then you got like U.S. Polo Association, like that.
If you think about it, they've like maintained that for 40 years.
It's amazing. And
for 40 years.
That logo and that icon and just. And when you just say Polo Ralph Lauren, like it just it resonates with quality and all that. And there's just something. And I love when brands turn the name of the product into like that. Their name turns into the product. So Polo, you call it a Polo. Well, that's because of
that's when you've
polos,
made it.
Or Band-Aid,
Kleenex,
Band-Aid. So I love when a brand makes that big of an impact into an industry that they begin to start to call that product by that brand name. So
I'll just recommend a book here. It's by Dan Sullivan and Ben Hardy. It's called 10X is Easier Than 2X. And they go through a bunch of those strategies, and actually even a couple of people that did that. Like they doubled down on the 20% of their business, got rid of 80% and ended up making that. And one was Kleenex and how they did it. They were a paper product and they could have been really big in paper packs, but they decided to go all in on one thing and created that.
The downside of that can come when, for example, with us, this I can't even remember of the YouTube creators because I blocked them from my mind, but they thought that you called these type of belts Anson belts. At least that's what they said, that you call these types of belts Anson belts. Or so they did a video of why I hate Anson belts. That was literally the title and it said, but they changed it. And the only reason why I knew that is because I got like a notification and it was showing the old title. It was showing the old title, but it was like, but then they changed it to why I dislike Anson belt or something like that. And so so I was like, sheesh, this is when we were just getting started, but we had started with some big time influencers. And so they were talking about them. It was the hot thing to talk about. They were getting clicks. And so they did this video that of course got a ton of clicks because everybody's like, ooh, why do they hate Anson belts? And so what's funny is we went to one of those conferences, that we used to go to, and the guy was there. And so like the guy, he was him and his girlfriend or wife or fiance or something. And he was there, and we went to this like a golf something before, and and then I see him, I'm like, that's not gonna
punch him in the face.
No, I was like, hey, how you doing, man? I'm David Ferree with Anson Belt, and he was just like, oh no, it's like, yeah, man. So what's up? Why do you hate the belt so much? And he was like, it's not that and it's like, and I was like, well, it's just kind of, why did you like use our name? Like, why did you, you couldn't have said like Hollis belts or Ratchet belt? He's like, we thought that's what they were called, that they were called Anson belts, and and I'm like, okay, sure, but so I don't know, I don't know if he, obviously they use it as clickbait, but it was such an attack. And then like, and then he ends up, working at one of our competitors, I think saw it obviously. And then they like paid them to do a video talking about their belts and like how like,
that's a crappy competitor.
Yeah. Don't even get me started on them. And they know who they are. They're probably listening, but, so they paid them to do a video on why they,
sure.
Yeah. But anyway. So I don't even know if that channel is still around. Probably not, because
this could go down a whole nother segue of like influencers and like the world we're in for people getting those clicks. Like I don't want to go far down that line, but we represent a boat brand, and we had a very similar incident of this. Doesn't necessarily matter, but like it is very important when it's your brand. When it's your brand, I mean, part of it is, right? So there's an element of taking care of it, but there's also an element of letting the community battle for you. Yeah. And like, so we actually had a person who said there was a defect in the boat, and they started this YouTube channel, and they said, and basically it's mentioned the defect in the boat, the name of the boat, and then this is what they were doing that day on the boat. Mm-hmm. And so, we monitored it, right? Like, so we knew it was there. We were monitoring it and what was happening, because you didn't want to bring we have a much larger reach. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to come and give that guy the light of day if it doesn't take off. Well, slowly it took off. I mean, not Facebook, but YouTube gave it go. And so it became an issue for local dealers. It became an issue for a bunch of things. But this just goes to show you how people are in life, and if you're a brand out there, just get ready for this, because it'll happen. Depending on how big you get,
the more arrows.
The bigger target you have on your back.
The bigger you get, it will happen. And so this guy, I mean, he was extremely irrational with the things, and so the owner of the company literally called him directly, say, "Look, I know you're having issues with this and everything else. We really want to get this fixed for you." And he's like, and part of when you buy it, the whole thing is we'll pick the boat up, we'll bring it back, we'll fix it, and we'll get it back to you. He's like, well, I can't go without my boat. Well, then the secondary was like, we'll give you a boat to let you use between the time.
You will.
And so the problem is that we learned very quickly it wasn't the solution that he was worried about. He was using it to get clicks.
Yeah, he was like, well, I'm still going to keep it up.
And so ultimately what happened, what we did on our end of things, we documented the whole thing. We offered to buy. He's like, I tell you what, man, let me buy the boat back. I'd love to give you cash for what you pay for the boat. Obviously, you're not happy with our brand. We'll buy it back. You can go get whatever else you want. Didn't want it.
No, I like the boat.
No, I like the boat. That's what he said. No, I like the boat. I want to keep using the boat. And then it went from like, hey, there's another boat at the dealership. We'll swap it out. We'll just change out your engines. No, I'm not doing that, because I've already put some work into my boat, so I want you to pay me the difference on that too. It was already an upgrade. And we're like, well, we can't do that. So, I mean, we really relinquished all forms of this. And so the community was batting for us. So the community of fishermen were batting for us, and we're making comments on his page. But what he constantly did on his page was he would mute all the comments that were against him. So anything that came up against him, and there was a lot coming in, he'd be delete. And like, this is crazy. So how do you deal with this? And so ultimately what we did is you have to learn, you have to be the bigger boy in the room. You have to let the belt guy go do his thing and realize all traffic will be good traffic, and then you monitor it. But officially what we ended up doing is we were very transparent. So we took the step of extremely transparent. We had the owner of the company, and we essentially, with the owner of the company, with his namesake on it, which was pretty astounding in the boat building business,
to get it.
We wrote down, hey, this is the 100% correspondence and everything that we've offered for this individual. We've offered to buy it back. We've offered to swap it back. We've offered to bring it back and trailer it up and replace the top. We've offered
what more do you want?
What more do you want? And then we strategically created accounts for this person that he didn't have before, the owner, on all the forums and all the other things, and then we posted it all there. Right.
Nice.
And so we put it all there for the public to see. And then essentially the community started tagging that YouTube video with that link. No, this is actually what happened. No, this is what happened. And then, dude, when I talk about turn like so fast on him, like, what? This is like conspiracy, and this is all this stuff. I can't believe you do this. And like, so now his channel, he's like, what are you? He called, the guy calls, what are you trying to do? Hurt me?
The guy with the channel was like, well,
no,
we're just offered to fix it.
Just being open, honest about it. And ultimately, he ended up doubling down on it. Right. So this is one of those we'll call it a turd in the toilet. It'll never flush. It'll always be there. He continues. He continues.
There's a visual I did.
Like, straight up, man. So this guy, he continues to do this in the channel, right? And every now and then his head will peep up, like on some of our YouTube stuff, or on some of the Facebook posts we'll have, like, oh, you think this is a good such and such? Well, check this out, right? And we monitor it, hide it, whatnot. But, in a business, to have the maturity of knowing what you're doing is the best you can do. You can only do what the best you can do. And the world is full of people that are going to try to take advantage of you in many ways. And you've got to have the maturity to just deal with it. And the bigger your brand gets, to think this is not going to happen, forget it.
And you've got to be able to let it go off your back.
You have to let it go.
Because you cannot let these
But,
someone's opinion of your,
we're the marketing company for this. We felt comfortable with this, but I'm telling you, the owner had such a hard time dealing with it. What do you mean someone doesn't like me?
Yeah,
like, dude, the
that's
world,
hard.
and we're in this whole new world for them, which they were new into all these social worlds and stuff. They hadn't quite done this in the past. It's always a traditional media, and it's going to happen more. It will happen more, but it's just what it is.
Yeah, I think it always reminds me of the saying. I'm trying to think of who said it, but said, my haters, if they saw me walking on water, they'd say it's because I don't know how to swim. And
That's
so
good.
if you think about that, like it doesn't matter if you do everything right.
Some
The
people just
that
want to have a reason to gripe.
Well, for one, if you're successful, that makes them feel they have to look at themselves and say, oh, why am I not creating that success?
Why didn't I think of that?
It's literally a factor, a lack of responsibility for themselves. And so they got to go pick at the people that are successful. Most of the time, those people are nameless, faceless, even on social media. Like they don't have a picture on their profile, but they're the voices. And so, that one saying to me, it just reminds me like, it doesn't matter. Like you could literally walk on water and they go, oh, that's because you don't know how to swim.
Yeah. Don't even give them the energy or the time of day because it's just all a waste of time and money.
Yeah. And usually I don't, usually I'm really good
great.
about.
You should have punched him in the face.
No, usually I'm really good.
Yeah, you're a big dude. That could have been intimidating.
You should have put one of them taps on his butt.
But it was just the satisfaction of like shaking his hand and telling him and then having him like have to realize and like you could see the look in his face and walking it back of like,
whoa, is this him?
Well, yeah, like
wait, what?
Yeah, there was actually a person behind that brand. That
exactly. Well, I was kind of like, my dad. And this was when it was just my dad and I, and it was just us. And I'm like, we're a small family business, like, and we're just trying to make it. Like we weren't crushing it then, And they, So
be
just
kind, people. Just be kind.
But
just be kind.
Let's be friends.
Let's be friends.
Yeah,
like that. Any other brands? That was quite a segue, but any other brands that me and Matt should know about that we should go buy their stuff tomorrow?
There is one that I've really liked recently. Anatech. Are you familiar with? So
no.
It's and I actually have one of the sun shirts in there, but it's like a sun shirt. AN.
How do you find out? How do you find out about brands?
I got it from actually that friend that I was saying that had the boat, and his boat they have the name of the boat and the yacht, and so he gave me a shirt, and I was like,
great.
I was like, this is amazing. So I bought some for Anson and had them printed, with Anson's just for friends and family and employees and that kind of thing.
Are we friends and family?
Yeah, no, you guys don't get any. No, but
you'll be
there's
friends
nothing left.
Hey, it only requires $30 to be friends and family. For $30, you too can be friends and family of Anson.
But no, they've already been given. Actually, though, I do have a bunch of the Hanes. They're not quite as nice, but the Hanes sun shirts.
You're the third cousin.
I'm the third cousin.
You're the third cousin.
You don't get the 2-ply toilet paper in the guest room.
Next door.
Yeah, you get the one. But
I'm a knife guy. So I love knives, even though I cut myself often. But like Benchmade is one of those brands for me that I just go crazy for all the time. Like I'm always looking at what's new. And I think it has to do with just the craftsmanship and detail of the product, right? Like you get it, the way it opens, the way it snaps, the way it feels. Like you get it, it's like the best in the industry. It's the best there is.
Have you heard of Honey Badger knives?
No.
Shout out Honey Badger. They're just a company that reached out to me that we collaborated for a Free Belt Friday giveaway. But really smooth ball bearings in the in the release. But it's a great little pocket knife, and they have Honey Badger knives. So great, and that's one of those kind of small independent brands that him owner operator in a partner kind of thing, and they make a great product, and so I love supporting brands like that.